absolutely I want to do it, quote unquote, the right way, right? Like, I mean, I find it really interesting that, do people think we want to come here so we can get exploited and be called criminals? I actually think what gets lost in this entire conversation about immigration is, why do people move, right? By the way, like, part of our job at Define American is really unpacking some of these myths, right? So when we say that unless you're a Native American, you're an immigrant to this country, we have actually left out black people in that equation. That's forced migration.
Yes.
They were imported, right? I mean, and we have to be honest about the fact that this country is addicted to cheap labor, right? I mean, come on. You put a sign out at the US-Mexico border that says, keep out, 10 yards in, what do you say? Help wanted, right? We can't all babysit your kids and mow your lawns and serve your drinks. Or is that what you want us to do, right? The fact of the matter is, you need the labor, right? About 25% of farmers in this country are undocumented. So when people say, oh, what does immigration have to do with me? I'm sorry, when was the last time you had a burger and a salad?
No.
Right? And to me, as somebody who's Filipino, I was in North Carolina a few months ago, and I did this event. Actually, it was a conservative event. And the man afterwards, because I said that there are about 4 million Filipinos in the United States. 4 million, right? We're the third largest immigrant group.
Wow.
Yeah, it's Mexicans, Chinese, and Filipinos. And this man said, well, why are there so many of you here? And he didn't say that the nice way. And all I could say to him was, sir, we are here because you were there.
Yes.
That's why we're here. Remember the Spanish-American War? Like, what gets so lost in the conversation is, what does US foreign policy and US trade agreements have to do with migration patterns? When all those kids from Central America started walking for their lives, from El Salvador, from Guatemala, from Honduras, what did we do to those countries? And why are they coming here? We're not even talking about that at all. And why is it that when white people move, it's called manifest destiny, right? It's white man's burden. Why is it that when people like me move, it's a question of legality and criminality? Right? I find it really, really interesting. I believe that a country has a right to define and defend its borders, absolutely. But why does my iPhone have more migrant rights than I do as a human being? This can be manufactured in China, delivered to Cupertino, and get to New York where I bought it, right? There's 244 million migrants in the world. We don't know how many of them are undocumented or unauthorized. We don't know how many of them, that's the largest percentage ever. People are moving. And you know what's really interesting? They are moving to countries that previously colonized or imperialized them.
Yes.
The jig is up. If you can come to our countries, why can't we come to yours?
Eric Liu wrote this article about what does it mean to be an American, and he said, being an American is slowly, agonizingly, but inexorably being decoupled from being white. So in 2050, when you say an American in the world, that will not mean a white person. It could mean a white person, but it's equally, or it's more likely to mean a person of color. There will be many different groups of color, but think about that. From the beginning of this country, the dominant group was the white group. So being an American meant being white, and if you weren't white, you were something else. You were a hyphenated American.
Yes.
But that's gonna change.
So the country is only gonna get gayer. So we're only gonna get gayer, blacker, browner, more Asian. Women, white women, black women, Latinas, Muslim women, all women will continue to break all barriers that must be broken. So what's left? How much change can straight white men handle? And to all the straight white guys in the room, please don't get nervous. Like, we are gonna have to do something that we in the country don't really know how to do, which is how to have more honest, uncomfortable conversations with each other, right? I mean, it's fascinating for me when I travel around the country talking about immigration and Define American, the conversations always ending about race, about the fact that race meaning, why don't they play football, why are they playing soccer? Race like, why don't they like our food? What are they cooking, right? I mean, I remember having, and back to your point, which is absolutely right. when did Italians and Irish and Germans, when did they become white?
About 1900.
And I think this year we have to really ask ourselves, who are we? And who are we becoming? And personally, for me, I have to say, I haven't seen my mother for 23 years. That's what immigration, that's what this means. So I left when I was 12. I can't leave because if I leave, they won't let me back, especially probably under President Trump. My mom is on a 16-year waiting list to come, which is typical for the Philippines or India. She can't even get a tourist visa because she doesn't own property. She's not a college graduate. Now, mind you, if she were like a French woman and she wanted to go see Hamilton over the weekend, if she could get tickets, she could go.
Yeah.
Right? Now, what does race and class have to do with that, right? So for me, like, I don't really need a piece of paper to tell me I'm an American. My middle school teachers, my high school teachers, my journalism mentors already have told me that. So what we're talking about here are way more than pieces of papers and laws. Of course I respect the law. I would not have risked my life and come out if I didn't. But we as a country, we're as much a nation of justice as we are a nation of laws, especially considering how there was a time in this country when women, weren't allowed to vote.
Absolutely.
When black people were relegated. Did you know that in this country, it wasn't until 1924 that we gave Native American citizenship rights? It wasn't until 1924 that we gave Native American citizenship rights.
Native
Americans. I just have to say, by the way, if you're an American citizen, can you raise your hand? I sincerely hope you don't take that for granted. People like me are fighting for something that you have that sometimes just fall in your laps. I would actually argue that undocumented people in this country, including the 550 undocumented people in this state, I actually think we show Americans what it is to be an American. Because it's a fight. It's not something that just lands in your lap. It's something that you actually have to earn.
So, Jose, we are a much stronger, richer America because you're an American. Thank you.
Oh, thank you.